Hi, this is XDA Developer TV. No, really, it is. Hi, I'm Jerdog with XDA Developer TV, and today we have the Sony Xperia S. We're going to do an unboxing of it. Received the device from Sony to do this with. And we're also going to kind of walk through rooting it. We're going to talk a little about, show you what it looks like, the device itself, and then hopefully you'll make up your mind whether or not you might want to add this to your collection or not. So the Xperia S, one thing that really sets it apart from pretty much any other device out there that isn't a Google Nexus device, is that it is the first non-Nexus device to make its way into the AOSP source code. No other device has had that, and this is the one that was able to do it from a Sony perspective. They have since taken that on themselves and have moved it out of the device tree, but have created their own GitHub repository to continue the work of bringing AOSP to the device itself, which is, no other manufacturer has done that, has opened up a GitHub and allowed for patches and open commentary to be going on about the development. And so that is one of the reasons why that we picked Sony as OEM of the Year for 2012. There are many other reasons, which if you go and look in the holiday guide, you'll kind of see that. But here's the Sony Xperia S. As you can see on the box, it's a pretty basic looking, nice retail box. A lot of footprint there. But on the box, it tells you that it's upgradable to ICS, ice cream sandwich. It also has the NFC tags included, so it kind of lets you know that. On the back, it has all the paraphernalia marketing to let you know that it can do HDMI. It's PlayStation certified. All the camera features, xLoud, so on and so forth. So they do a good job of the marketing. I think it's pretty basic, nothing too spectacular, and kind of makes you want to go ahead and get into the device. So we'll do that here in a second. The Xperia S is a global GSM device. It is not CDMA. It is a GSM only device. In the US, it would only be natively compatible with AT&T. You can use it on T-Mobile, since it would be able to roam on some of the new AWS spectrum that T-Mobile got after they were not able to be acquired by AT&T. Woo! So, but anyways, so it is a micro SIM device, and it can be used worldwide on GSM networks. It is a 4.3-inch screen, 1280 by 720 pixel. It does have a 342 ppi pixel density, which is better than the Samsung Galaxy S2, which would be kind of a competitor to it. Even though it has a 0.2-inch screen reduction in size from the Galaxy S2, it has a much better pixel density, which does show up. The screen is just absolutely beautiful. It has a scratch-resistant glass, 10-finger multi-touch if you want to get all 10 of your fingers on the device at once. It does have 32 gigs internal storage, but no micro SD slot. The 32 gig does in a lot of ways make up for that, as opposed to the 16 gig with no external options that some of the devices have now, like the Nexus 4 and some others. It does have Wi-Fi, of course. It goes all the way to N, which works well. It has a 12 megapixel 4000 by 3000 pixel camera, which is just a beautiful autofocus LED flash. Takes great photos. It can also do a 1080p HD video at 30 frames per second on the rear camera, and then the 1.3 megapixel front-facing camera will do 720p. It is the Qualcomm Snapdragon dual-core 1.5 gigahertz Crate processor, which is very efficient. Has the Adreno GPU, making this a really smooth very capable device, something that can last a good year, 18 months before it really is not as potentially not as good as some of the newer ones that come out. And it's in a good size. It weighs very little. It's very small, good size. We'll kind of walk through opening the box here in a second and show you what that looks like. And I'm going to take a cup of coffee. All right, so let's go ahead and unbox it here. Take out, we'll set that off to the side there so we can still kind of see what's going on. And we have now this just plain black packaging. And on this packaging here we have a, we'll open this up, and then we're presented with the, let's fold this back here so we can see it pretty well. You have your phone, which has its own little slide there. Drop it. There's the phone. We'll go ahead and set that to the side. We open this up here a little bit more. We have there's the NFC smart tags that come with it. Throw those off. We again have the your typical paraphernalia, what not to do, what to do with the device, user guides. We'll forget about those. And then we have again the cable. I do like the, I don't know if you can tell it from here, but we have the it's kind of a right angle plug instead of that straight plug. This is a right angle that plugs into the device. Seeing as the device has on the side here, which we'll bring it up real close here, you can see there's where the USB plug is. On the other side there is the HDMI plug. Looks to be a mini HDMI along with the power, and then a camera button. Close that up so we don't knock that off. There. Again, there's the USB. So plugging that USB connector in makes it for a nice, figuring out where there we go. So it makes for a real nice connection. It's right angle and connect right into the computer really easily there. So set that aside for now. And on the top of the device we have the power button, and then we also have the headphone jack. We already talked about on the sides where we have our cable connectors. The USB one plops right on in there. On the bottom, looks like we have what looks to be kind of a lanyard connector and a microphone connector. On the top, again, like I said, has the power and the headphones. A really nice device. You can kind of see how thin it is there. It's not the thinnest device on the market, but it is coming up on almost a year old now. Has the nice Sony Ericsson label there, and then the protective cover. So we'll go ahead and take that cover off. You can see the device, and we'll go ahead and power this on. Actually, before we power it on, let's go ahead and make sure we have everything out of. Oh, nope, there's a few more things here. We have the earpieces, headphones, nice little set of headphones, and the what looks to be, it's a European power plug. Not going to do me any good here, but it is a typical USB connector, so I should be able to use that with any other USB connector. There, so there's the box. We'll go ahead and set that aside. Alright, so we're ready to go ahead and root this sucker. We have the root with restore set of files that have been created by user Bin4ry, who is a member of the free Xperia project. And so we've downloaded those files. We'll go ahead and he has options for Linux and for Windows as well. We'll go ahead and list those out. So there's a run me batch file and there's a run me shell file. We're going to go ahead and run the run me shell file. We need to make sure first that we have ADB debugging, USB debugging enabled, which I have, and then we are ready to get going with that. So we'll go ahead and start this up here. And we're given some options to do a normal. It's a normal device. Maybe a special device like a Sony Tablet S or another device here I've not heard of. Or we can actually unroot the whole thing. So it has process to do that. So here in this case, we're going to go ahead and choose the normal. It goes through, it works through, it shows that it has everything it needs. And so on the screen itself, as we show over here on the screen, we're kind of given some backup options. What this does is it go ahead and kind of does a fake backup, which puts the necessary files needed in order to root the device on there. Kind of an exploit. And so we'll go ahead and just choose OK on the screen here. And then as the instructions tell us, it says to select the backup named root me. So root me is already selected. And then we say restore. And it's going to go ahead and restore. It goes through that little process. If we get an error, that's okay. We choose OK. And then up on the screen here, it shows us that it has worked and it should be rebooting the device. It has rebooted the device and it's coming back up again. Once it comes back up, we will have Super User installed. Super SU from Chainfire, and it is rooted, so it's that simple. Alright, so there you have it. We've unboxed the Sony Xperia S, and we've also gone and rooted it. Thanks to Bin4ry for putting the process out there. Thanks to Sony for not only sending the device to do an unboxing on, but also for putting the code out to AOSP and really opening up the device and hopefully setting a standard for the rest of the manufacturers to follow suit. And back in the description, you'll be able to find the links to the root process that Bin4ry uses and created for us, as well as some links to the other things we talked about with Sony and the device itself. Thank you for tuning in, and I'm going to enjoy some more coffee.